Oh, Wednesday's at that very special age when a girl has only one thing on her mind. Boys.
Homicide.
I look so pale today, it's not even funny. I guess it matches the vibe though. It also took me way too long to do these braids because my entire teenage life consisted of an I'm not like other girls type phase. I know, cringy, can't help it though. And therefore I never truly learned how to do any sort of makeup or hair. So I just kind of have to live with the consequences of those actions now. I also apparently have no hand-eye coordination, so it took me way too long to do 2 simple braids. And we're not gonna be concerned with how the back looks.
Child. Anyway, so.
Someone tell me how atrocious that looks. Thank you. Anyway, they match the vibe, so we're just gonna go with it and deal with it because I do kind of like the vibe. Even though having my hair up on camera makes me look like a potato. That's, again, neither here nor there. Last comment I'll make about the hair, whenever I put my hair up, I get these little like curls in the front, which like, yes, are cute in theory, but then they look like horns eventually because they like happen right there on both sides. If only I had some gel, but I actually don't have gel, so we're just dealing with it.
2 hours later.
Welcome into Leah Binges because my name is Leah and I like to binge watch a lot of movies and TV shows. And today we are going to be talking about Wednesday season 2. And I did say this about My Life with the Walter Boys as well, but I don't remember a whole lot from season 1 of Wednesday. It was never totally my cup of tea because I wasn't a huge fan of the Addams family. I know, controversial to say, but it just wasn't ever something that was like truly on my radar. And I don't think I was ever really in the age group where it was popular. Like, cause I am not old enough to where I watched it growing up when it was like first airing or anything. I know they had the Addams Family movie come out relatively recently, but I think I was like too young for that still, or like maybe I was too old. I don't even know, but it just like has never been one of my things necessarily. So I do recognize that I'm going into this I was going into the show not really knowing a whole lot about the Addams family and not being a huge fan. However, I don't totally know if that makes me biased for the show or against the show. Like, obviously, I can recognize that it's not totally my cup of tea, so maybe I don't like the show as much as other people would. But at the same time, I'm not someone who's going to be picking apart the fact that the show is not accurate to the original story. So it has its pros and cons that I was never a huge Addams Family fan. I do remember aspects of the characters from season 1, such as Enid and Wednesday's friendship and the love triangle with Wednesday, Xavier, and Tyler. I also know there was like a mystery aspect of season 1, which they were like trying to figure out who the Hyde was because he was killing people. But that's really all I got. The main thing I remember from season 1 is the iconic dance sequence, and mainly, how could I ever forget that, because people genuinely would not shut up about it. And yes, I do understand that the dance sequence was great and really popular and really fun, and it added a whole lot to the show, and like it was very like quirky and weird and fun. However, I feel like I'm still 2 years later hearing, hey, did you know that Jenna Ortega choreographed that herself? Oh my God, Jenna choreographed that dance. Oh my God, wasn't it so great that Jenna Ortega choreographed that dance? We get it. She choreographed the dance. Like, I'm sorry. It was not, like, I don't know. It just like got on my nerves that was like the only thing that like was a standout of season 1 in everyone's minds. So much so that they're like saying that like, oh my God, this was like groundbreaking. Didn't really do it for me, honestly. Like, yeah, it was fun. Did I need to see it on my For You page on TikTok for like a year straight? No, it was like, I didn't need to see all that. And maybe this might end up with people saying that I hate fun. I don't hate fun. I hate fun when it's like 1000% in your face all the time, constantly, and you can't seem to get rid of it no matter how hard you try. And that's kind of what the dance was for me. I also think a lot of the popularity came from the shock value of how Jenna kept her face so still and monotone for the entirety of season 1. That's where a lot of the conversation really came in, was people saying that they can't imagine holding a straight face for that long. It's really impressive that she stays so monotone and straight-faced and keeps that expression for the entire time, and like how impressive that was. However, I don't think she was that straight-faced this season. I don't know if that's because we all got used to it and therefore I don't see a lot of people discussing it anymore, or if it just wasn't a main focus of the directing this season, or what. I don't really know what the whole deal is, but it just was weird that that was like a main thing that I saw in season 1, and now come season 2, it feels like something that no one really is talking about anymore. There are 3 years between season 1 and season 2 being released, and that is genuinely insane to me, especially when the seasons are only 8 episodes long. Like, genuinely, how am I even supposed to remember what happened in season 1? Maybe that's just a me issue. Now come season 2, I did genuinely kind of have to force myself to watch it. Like I said earlier, the series itself wasn't totally my cup of tea, but it's so popular that I would like to know what's going on in pop culture and in popular shows and things like that. So I did force myself to watch it, and I did get through it. However, it was kind of a hard watch, I'm not gonna lie. One last note about the differences between season 1 and season 2 that I'll talk about before jumping into it is that I know Xavier isn't in season 2 due to the drama behind the scenes, as there were serious allegations of sexual assault and misconduct against the actor. I do know that there have also been discussions that those were fake, but I myself don't plan on doing any actual research on it because it doesn't affect my life a whole lot, honestly. I'm just stating it because I do believe that's why he isn't in season 2, because people threatened to boycott the show if he was in it, considering the allegations of sexual misconduct against him. Ultimately, his absence in season 2 versus season 1, though, did not have an effect on me at all. It didn't feel like there was a void in the show whatsoever. Mainly that's because they have like so many other characters to think about and focus on. Now jumping into the aspects of season 2 that I really want to focus on, typically I would break it down by each character, and I'm not going to do that for this video, mainly because I'm trying to keep it a little bit shorter. I don't really have a whole lot that I care to say about. I say that as if my notes aren't like 3 pages long, but so I guess I have enough complaints already that I don't really want to go into each and every character. That's also because the characters themselves, I just don't have a whole lot to say about. But I guess we'll kind of get into that as a complaint about the show as a whole. So that's why I'm not going to dive into each of them individually. I'm just going to talk about the season as a whole, the plot points, the storylines, and how the characters work into that. And over the course of the video, I'm sure you'll hear my thoughts on every character. The entirety of season 2, there was so much going on. So many storylines at once, and yet almost none of them end up mattering in the end. One of my biggest issues with shows right now, especially Netflix shows, is that nothing really happens. I did talk about that in My Life with the Walter Boys. I feel like Wednesday should be different though, because they're dealing with mystery and dealing with our darker aspects. But when it comes down to it, nothing in the show truly has any impact on anything. You're basically watching nothing happen for an entire season. Additionally, I don't know who the show is written for. I think they want it written for Gen Z, but the whole show feels very painfully millennial. And no, I will not be elaborating on what I mean by that. They're trying very hard to make the dialogue quirky and relatable in hopes that it goes viral. Season 1 had that happen kind of accidentally with the line that Wednesday says about birthdays, that every day is about her, but this day just comes with cake and a bad song. And that sound clip went pretty viral for season 1, but now I think they're trying to purposely do that in season 2, and it's just not working. It comes off as disingenuous and weird. For example, the question to Wednesday of, do you have FOMO? And she's like, actually, I have phobia, fear of being included. Don't get me started. I'm sorry, that's so bad. That's genuinely so bad. I just rolled my eyes at that because I can handle a lot of cringe dialogue, and yet I'm like expecting more from the show, and it's just not happening. Going back a little bit to the fact that we have so many storylines going on in season 2, here are just a couple of listed out storylines that we're dealing with in season 2. We have Wednesday fighting with her mother and the family. We have backstory and secrets about Morticia's younger years. We have Morticia fighting with her mother, the mystery around Ophelia, who is Morticia's sister. We have Wednesday harnessing her ability and also losing her ability. Enid being an alpha, trying to stop Enid's death from Wednesday's vision. Enid's romance, multiple, like her breakup with Ajax, and then also her new romance with the other guy that I don't remember his name. We have the stalker / Agnes's introduction. Bianca's mom is in trouble. There's a new headmaster threatening Bianca and conning Wednesday's family for money. Ajax is there. He has no storylines, but he's there. Tyler breaking out of the asylum and the threat of the Hyde being released, because Tyler is the Hyde if you didn't see season 1. Why would you be watching this if you didn't see season 1? I don't know, but in case you didn't know. Tyler's mom / Francesca is back in town, and she's trying to heal herself and Tyler. Pugsley is trying to fit in at the school. Slurp, the zombie, is Pugsley's pet. Slurp is actually Isaac, who is Francesca's brother. Thing feels left out of the family and is going to like a support group type thing. There's definitely more, but that's just a short list of what I could come up with while I was scripting of everything that's happening in the season. There's too many. There's too many storylines, and none of them are given enough time to be properly developed to a point where everything is just stupid and short and means nothing. On that same topic, we somehow have 3 main villains and issues for this season. Mind you, the whole season is only 8 episodes. We have the new headmaster, we have Tyler, Francesca, and Isaac family storyline. They're like one villain. And then we have Wednesday's development of her gift and clashing with her mom. Technically, those are so many storylines in one, but those are like the 3 main things that we're dealing with within season 2. It's only 8 episodes long. Why do we have 3 villains and 3 things to be solving? And that's not even including like Bianca's storylines. Oh my God, there's so much. Alex Myers on YouTube made a really good point already. The main conflict of season 2 ends up being the same as season 1 because everything ties back to some family secret and drama from when Morticia and Gomez were at the school. So you would think after season 1, they would have learned their lesson and just kind of come out with it and been like, oh, here's some things that may be important for you going to the school that we went to and have a backstory at. But no, they spend the entire thing just keeping secrets from their kids. One of the highlights that, of course, everyone has probably seen edits of already is the Wednesday and Enid body swapping storyline. And ultimately, they got to understand each other more because of the storyline. However, the issue with that is they already figured out a lot of their issues in season 1, so the body swapping felt a lot like a filter. I tend to really enjoy filler episodes, and while I did enjoy the storyline itself, you don't totally need filler storylines with all we already have going on and the limited time allotted to the season. Sure, filler episodes were really fun and made a whole lot of sense for a show that had 24 episodes and only one main storyline through that entire 24 episodes. So of course you can have side storylines and side episodes and filler episodes to help develop the characters. But when you only have 8 episodes to be working with and 6 million issues to be dealing with, we don't totally need a filler storyline or a filler episode. Side note, I heard there was drama behind the scenes because apparently Emma didn't know about the body swap storyline until very last minute. Why not tell your actor the storylines that are coming up? I don't know. But just thought I'd throw that in there for a little pizzazz. Additionally, about the body swap storyline, them going back to the cemetery just to repeat everything they learned seemed pointless and like a waste of time. We could have just swapped the bodies back after they have their realizations. It seems just like an extra step to waste time. Like they needed an extra, 2 minutes of dialogue, so they just had them go back to the cemetery. Moving on to my next big gripe with this season and series as a whole, everything is extremely convenient because they all have abilities. Agnes was literally the savior for Wednesday this whole season because she can just turn invisible and learn any information that's needed. It's just so easy for all of them. She just knows everything now because she's been invisible this whole time. Meanwhile, Bianca can get literally whatever she wants with just her voice. Ajax totally abuses his power to turn people to stone. Like he is using that constantly throughout this entire season. Any strength-based thing is easily solved with Enid turning into a werewolf. Like literally everything is solved so easily because they all have abilities. I know their abilities are part of the show, but ultimately everything comes way too easy for all of them with how often they use their abilities. Like I said, Ajax is turning people to stone like 5 times an episode. There is no consequences to him doing that, and he's just allowed to do that. It's weird to me because why are they all just allowed to use their powers endlessly? And then I thought in season 1 even, we had the issue with like Bianca didn't like to use her powers, if I remember correctly, and now she's just using it constantly. I know that's to save her mom, but we just have no grounds for like anything that's happening, I guess, if that makes sense. For example, about them all getting things being so easy for all of them, the headmaster villain is killed in literally 2 minutes after everyone finds out about his blackmail. Like Wednesday and Ajax and them found out that he was blackmailing Bianca, and 2 minutes later he was dead because they hatched a plan and used their abilities and just turned him to stone, and then he got crushed by a chandelier, which again, convenient. Like, sure, now he's just dead and it's fine and everyone's well and good. If we had Bianca just come to Wednesday in episode 1, we wouldn't even have a season because they just fixed it so easily. Oh my God. Sorry, it just bothers me when like nothing is happening. We also thought then that Thing was dead come like the last episode because he was sewn into Isaac's hand, which was also stupid. I'm sorry, the screen where they showed that Thing is just an anagram of night was comical. Genuinely, who wrote this season? Because then who named him Thing? I thought he was named Thing just because he's an amorphous hand. And they're like, oh, it's kind of quirky. He's just a thing. He's just a hand. Who named him Did Gomez and Morticia name him Thing? Because if they did, then why would you name him an anagram of the person he came out of? If then they also didn't want to tell Thing his backstory. So there's no point in him being named an anagram of the other guy, other than for them to seem clever. But who gave him that name then? Like, it doesn't make any sense. Anyway, but so not only does it not make any sense, the fact that they had to like just put it in there, just the whole thing was so comical. I'm sorry. Despite the fact that we kind of thought Thing was dead after being sewn into Isaac's hand, it's all magically solved in the next 5 minutes with the classical, "This isn't you" Thing.
Thing, we know you're still in there.
Come back to us, Thing. We love you. We're your family.
This was never part of your family. It's a part of me.
And then he fights against Isaac while still attached to Isaac's body and like gives him the middle finger.
What is happening?
Doesn't take a genius to figure that out.
And then pulls his heart out. He takes control of his entire body, gives him the middle finger, and then pulls his heart out. And then Wednesday's in the background going, that's the sound of like, your time's up.
Time's up.
Oh my God, how stupid are we? The whole scene was pure ridiculousness. I actually started cackling because it was so stupid. And I've like already seen people online talking about like how good it was and like, oh my God, like way to go thing. And you know, things a part of the family and blah, blah. It was, it was so bad. I'm sorry. I watch a lot of bad TV. And yet, even I thought it was bad, and that is saying something. Ultimately, going back to my original point, with how storylines don't matter, I wouldn't be surprised if come episode 1 of season 3, Wednesday finds Enid in her wolf form and just pulls a, come back to me, and then she instantly turns back into a human and nothing matters. Because we've been building up Enid turning into a werewolf and becoming an alpha and a lone wolf, which is like her greatest fear, since the beginning of the season, and then at the end, she turned into a wolf on the full moon to save Wednesday, which ultimately means that she could be stuck as a wolf her entire life. But I genuinely think they're gonna just leave that as a cliffhanger, and then come season 3, in the first episode, Wednesday's gonna find her and just be like, come back to me, this isn't you, and she's just gonna turn back into a human, and they're gonna hug, and that's gonna be that. Netflix, don't sue me if I just gave away your entire season 3 plot. Please and thank you. It kind of reminds me that shippers have ruined the show a little bit. Wednesday as a whole should focus on that mystery aspect. It kind of thrives in, it's Tim Burton. He should thrive in like a darker atmosphere with darker aspects. But instead, the whole first season focused on a love triangle between Wednesday, Xavier, and Tyler. And then not to mention the side shippers of Enid and Wednesday. And now there's also rumors that people are shipping Enid with Agnes. And even Emma herself said that that was really weird and creepy to her because Agnes is a child and Enid, I mean, technically, I think Enid is a child too, but like there's like an age difference between the two of them. And Emma's like, that's weird. Please ship people who are the same age.
Thoughts on the idea that people are now shipping you? Because Emma, obviously you had to deal with it quite a lot with Jenna in season 1, and now it's kind of moved to you two. Like, what are your thoughts on that dynamic?
On Enid and Agnes.
Yeah.
Agnes is a very small child, so let's leave the children out of it. But ship people who are the same age. That's what I'll say.
And it's kind of only getting worse this season because Wednesday freed Tyler, and I've already seen so many editors pick that up about like she still has feelings for him and they're gonna get back together in season 3.
I missed.
Controversial opinion, I don't think Wednesday should be in a relationship. I think she should just be by herself and deal with her family issues and friendships and harnessing her ability and solving mysteries and things like that. We do not need a mystery. We do not need a love triangle or a relationship aspect for Wednesday, in my opinion. We just don't need it. It's weird, and that's another reason why I think that they're like targeting a younger audience, because younger people tend to latch on to those romance elements, and it's just not needed. You could make the show a lot better by making it more mature and for an older audience by having that dark aspect. But instead, we're like focusing on the wrong things, in my opinion. Last 2 points. One of them might be extremely picky considering I've kind of torn the show to shreds at this point, but the show is way too oversaturated and bright for my liking. They do have a color scheme of black and purples, but they also don't. And I don't know how else to describe it. I've said in the past, and I'll say in the future, that I really liked in older shows when each show had its kind of distinct setting and mood and the way that it was filmed. And Wednesday, being a Tim Burton production, they should have the ability to have those really moody and dark and gritty scenes and gorgeous cinematography, but they don't. Everything is like meant to be dark, but at the same time, it's like they turn the brightness up to the top notch, and then they like put the smoothness, if there was like a smoothness dial, they like turn that all the way up, and then they put the brightness up again, and then they were like, okay, saturation, that up too. And it just doesn't look that good. It's supposed to, and they're almost trying to with the way that the scenes are set up. The like background settings, they'll be like in a cemetery, or you know, even the classrooms, they try and make more aesthetically pleasing, but then they like, the editing like turns it up to a million. And that's another reason, again, why I think they're making the show for younger kids, because younger kids will just be like, ooh, shiny, and not pick apart the cinematography and the shot styles. My very, very last point about season 2 is that I know everyone loves the dance sequence, and while it was fun, it felt a bit forced. I know this is another picky, very, very picky thing, but it's almost as if producers thought, oh, everyone loved the dance sequence from season 1 and it went super viral, so clearly we need another dance sequence so we can go viral again. It ties back into my earlier point about them trying to make the show go viral. They knew that that was popular about season 1, so they decided to do it again in season 2 in hopes that they would just get another viral moment and it would bring more people into the show rather than trying to make good TV. Is that super controversial? Whoops. They were slightly right because I've seen a lot of it online already. However, my point still stands. Sure, if people really, really like and enjoy a part of the show, then that's fine. But at the same time, I feel like I'm only seeing it because it's marketing tactics to bring people into the show, rather than it actually being an important and standout part of the show. It just goes to show that a lot of shows these days are run by money and marketing and like those types of things, because if the writing is terrible, people kind of say this about Emily in Paris as well, which is also on Netflix, is that Netflix has so much money to be producing these shows that they should be better than they are. But because the marketing brings so many people in, then it doesn't matter if the show is good because the ads are like making money for them, if that makes sense. I hope that I'm so not good at putting words together. Like, I felt like that was a very valid point, but yet then when the words start coming out of my mouth, I feel like I'm not making sense anymore. So I really, really hope that that made sense, because in my head it was such a valid point to be making. Because ultimately, people are going to continue to watch the show because of the marketing. I feel like not a lot of people give up on shows when they turn bad. So the show will continue to be renewed when people tune in, if that makes sense. Like, ratings could be in the gutter, but as long as their marketing is good enough to bring people in, they'll continue to renew the show. Coming to a close for this video, obviously everyone can like what they like, so if you enjoy the show, then that is totally fine. It does, however, become kind of a pet peeve of mine when a show just really isn't that great, but it becomes super popular and people start defending it with their lives as if it's the greatest and most genius show ever produced. And I kind of believe that's where we're headed. I've seen bits and pieces of it already, and I firmly believe Stranger Things is kind of at that point right now, which I know extremely controversial that I'm throwing that out there now. I will make a Stranger Things video and dive more into that when the last season of Stranger Things is actually released. But it just becomes like Supernatural is one of my favorite shows of all time. Like, it's a comfort show to me. It was a big part of my life for a long time. And yet I can still recognize it's not the greatest show ever made. Like, I can recognize that there are a lot of problems with that show. So ultimately, I don't have any problem with people enjoying a cringy show or enjoying a bad show. It just becomes a little bit of a pet peeve when people are ready to die on the hill that this is the best show ever created. And I'm sitting there like, what are they seeing that I'm not? Because I'm like forcing myself to watch this right now, and everyone else is talking about like the genius behind it. And I'm like, genius? I'm like, what are we watching the same show? Anyway, like I said before, I know Netflix will continue to make the show as long as it continues to get views. So I do fear we are in it for the long run with this show. Unfortunately, I do think it's gonna become played out after season 3, and ultimately probably should have been a limited series rather than a renewable series. Limited series, ultimately, if you can put all of the focus and production value into just a 1-season limited time production, I genuinely think that the outcome of that show tends to be so much better than continuously renewing something that doesn't really have the heart in it. And I don't think the show really has the heart in it anymore anyway. Season 1 did actually have heart in it. Like, there were plenty of marketing things that said Jenna Ortega really put her all into that show and helped write the script and produce everything so that it did the character justice. This season, not so much. No one really felt like they gave it their all. And I don't know if that's the writing or the acting or maybe just my interpretation because I wasn't giving it my all, but that's where we stand now. I will watch season 3 when it's released. And can you tell how excited I am about that? Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel to see any other content that I'll be posting soon. I do have quite a bit of videos planned, so hopefully I can get those up in a relatively timely manner. I am working a lot and also applying for jobs, so that's taking up a lot of time as well. Not to mention, I signed up for classes, so that's gonna take even more of my time. So I do hope I can still make time to make content because I have been really enjoying these videos. Also, leave a comment down below if you have your thoughts about Wednesday season 2 or the series as a whole. I would love to hear them. Check out any of my other videos that I have posted already if you enjoyed my little rant here. I hope to see you all in those videos and in any future videos. Thank you so much again for watching. Bye!